Welcome back to part 3 on function composition. We are looking right now at adding, subtracting, and multiplying functions. Moving forward, we're also going to look at substitution of composition, so one function substituted inside the other. For now, though, we don't have to worry so much about domain issues as long as both functions can exist in the domain. For now, we're looking at the two functions f of x equals x squared minus 4 and g of x equals 4 minus the square root of x minus 6. We need to find the requested values of the following functions. F plus g of 6. Well, first of all, I know that f is x squared minus 4, and g is the function or rule 4 minus the square root of x minus 6. Since we're adding them, I'm going to put a plus sign in between. And now I just need to substitute the value x with 6. So wherever there is an x in our addition of the two functions, we're now going to substitute a 6. And I'm putting parentheses around it just because it is a good practice to just get comfortable with doing, because if this was a negative number, it would have to have parentheses just to keep track of your steps and your signs. When we simplify, we get 36 minus 4 plus 4. Well, that's obviously going to add to 0. And then on the end, we have minus the square root of 6 minus 6, which is also 0, so the square root of 0 is 0. So our final answer for f plus g of 6 is 36. Let's take a look at f minus g of 7. So f, again, we have x squared minus 4, but now we are subtracting all of the g function from f. That g function was 4 minus the square root of x minus 6. I am subtracting, so that's where the subtraction sign came from. I have to remember to distribute that negative. I also need to do a substitution for x. Our x's need to be substituted with a 7. So that's going to give me 7 squared minus 4 plus the square root of 7 minus 6. 7 squared is 49, minus 8 minus the square root of 1, which is 1. So that's going to be 49 minus 9. So f minus g of 7 is 40. Now we need to find f times g of 10. This means that we're going to multiply the two functions together. Since both functions have two terms, this would be a FOIL process. However, it's not necessary in this situation. We know that f is x squared minus 4, and we need to multiply that times g. And we know that g is 4 minus the square root of x minus 6. Now let's just substitute 10 in for the x's. It's rather common to see students FOIL this out, but it's an extra step that's not necessary. Substituting my 10 in, I can now simplify. I will have 100 minus 4 and 4 minus the square root of 10 minus 6. 10 minus 6 is 4, so it will be the square root of 4. 100 minus 4 is 96, and that will be multiplied times 4 minus 2, which is 2. So 96 times 2 is 192. Notice in part D, we are asked to find f divided by g of 9. Again, I'm substituting 9 in wherever there was an x. I'll rewrite this as f of x over g of x. F of x was x squared minus 4, and g of x was 4 minus the square root of x minus 6. We need to find f over g of 9. So in place of the x's, I will be putting 9's. That gives me 9 squared minus 4 over 4 minus the square root of 9 minus 6. Well, when we have 81 minus 4, that's going to give us 77 over 4 minus the square root of 3. And that's not a very nice answer. You could also rationalize this denominator, but I'm not going to make you do that. If you get this far for today, that is awesome.